Ending emotional eating. Let's talk about it because I know so many of you guys are starting to recognize the importance of feeling, processing, coping, managing your emotions. You guys know the importance of that. But some of you guys are like, but how the heck and Bob do I actually process my emotions? We weren't taught in school. You weren't taught in school how to process, how to manage, how to deal with your emotions, right? You never went to school and they taught you, okay, so if you're feeling anxious, like this is a really good coping strategy. If you're feeling sad, this is one way of allowing yourself to feel it. We weren't taught emotions in school. And even maybe your parents, maybe your parents don't even really know how to process, manage their emotions. So there's not really an example of what it's like to actually be able to feel through and process through your emotions. And I think a huge reason why so many people have a hard time with emotional eating is because potentially you have been told at a very young age, you shouldn't be upset. You shouldn't be stressed. You shouldn't be overwhelmed. Yes, I will save this live. Why are you crying? You're making it such a big deal. Why are you crying? You shouldn't be upset. Has anyone ever told you that? I used to be a very emotional person. I have a really big heart and I would take things personally a lot. In the past, I used to take things really personally. And when somebody would say something in a non-offensive manner, I would be offended. And I'd be sad. I'd be upset. And, when I would say this to somebody else, like whether it's a friend or a family member, and I'm like, I'm upset. Like, I feel like this person hurt me. And they're like, oh, like you're just making it such a big deal. Like, it's actually not such a big deal. Like, stop being so emotional. Stop being so dramatic. But my feelings were valid. My feelings were real. I was sad. I was hurt. And so if you have been told, don't cry, you're making it such a big deal, or you're so emotional, what ends up happening is the next time you feel sad, the next time you are emotional, you're going to think, I shouldn't be feeling this way. This is bad. This is bad. This is wrong. I shouldn't cry. I shouldn't let out tears. I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't be sad. I need to be strong. I shouldn't feel these feelings. So you're seeing your emotions as bad. I need to get rid of them. And if you haven't been taught the proper skills on how to cope and process and manage your emotions, guess what? The only way you know how to self-soothe right now, go into the pantry, eat some ice cream, feel a little bit better, okay? 5-minute, 10-minute relief. Even though you know that that's not a sustainable way to process and cope and manage your emotions because you still feel the sadness, you still feel stressed and overwhelmed after eating. In fact, the emotion compounds. So now you're not only feeling sad or whatever emotion you came in with, but now you're eating the ice cream and you're feeling bad because you know that you weren't even hungry and you didn't even need the ice cream. So now the emotions are just building and building and building and stacking. So that's one reason why so many people struggle with emotional eating is you don't know how to process your emotions, but also number two, you're seeing your emotions as bad. You're seeing your emotions as bad. And so again, anytime you're seeing your emotions as I shouldn't be feeling this, even for example, anxiety. So when I was struggling with my relationship with food, I'd wake up with chronic anxiety. I would feel so anxious waking up in the morning because I couldn't remember, I would have to think for a moment, oh shoot, did I binge last night? Because a lot of my binges were in the evening. And I would wake up with so much anxiety, oh my God, did I binge last night? Did it happen? Because my binges were so not predictable. I was just managing my urges. I didn't actually get rid of my urges on my early stages. And so I'd have so much anxiety. I felt like I was purposely putting on weight because I was just eating and eating and eating and eating. And that gave me so much anxiety. And when I had the anxious feelings in the morning, I started to really ask myself, why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling this way? Because if you don't actually turn inwards and ask yourself why you're feeling certain emotions, you can't change, you can't shift, you can't do anything. And I asked myself, like, why am I anxious? And then I started to realize, well, I was anxious because I was out of control with food. I was anxious because I felt like I was not in the driver's seat of my life. I was anxious because I felt like I was putting on so much weight because I was just binging and binging and binging and binging. And so I said to myself, well, I can keep waking up in the morning, having chronic anxiety, which then is going to lead into binging later on. Or I can really say, you know what? I'm going to tackle the root of the anxiety. I'm going to get to the root of feeling anxious so that I don't feel as anxious in the morning. So often people are like, okay, I'm stressed and I'm overwhelmed. So what can I do in replace so that I'm not feeling those emotions? And that's all great. Like, you can go to yoga, you can meditate, you can do breath work. That's fantastic. But also understanding what is the root of why you're constantly stressed. What is the root of why you're constantly anxious? For me, I was constantly anxious because I was insecure. I felt like binging was taking over my life. I felt like I was gaining a bunch of weight. So I said, let me go to the root of it. And once I started healing my relationship with food, guess what? I wasn't so anxious around food. Guess what? I didn't feel out of control with food. I didn't feel like I was putting on a bunch of weight every single day. I wasn't waking up with chronic anxiety because I didn't binge the night before. So right now, if you're stressed at work is causing you stress. Yes, you can do breathwork techniques. You can learn how to regulate your nervous system. You can do these grounding techniques, and that is fantastic. But you're going to constantly have to do those techniques unless you actually get to the root of it. If you have a stressful job, if you're anxious all the time, certain coping mechanisms, strategies, breathwork, meditation, yoga, whatever it is, those can help support you. But you're going to have to keep doing them unless you actually get to the root. And this might mean you got to set boundaries. Right? Boundaries at work. Maybe you got to release some people-pleasing tendencies. I know you guys like to say yes to everybody and everyone. And sure, I will fly over there. Just give me 5 minutes. I know I was supposed to get my workout in, but it's okay. I will fly over there and I'll give you the groceries, and I'll also drive you here, and I'll be taxi lady for the rest of the day. If you're constantly doing that, you're also not prioritizing yourself. You're people-pleasing. There's no boundaries. So then again, at the end of the day, I was telling this to somebody yesterday. I said, if you're constantly giving, you're people-pleasing, a lack of boundaries, you're not filling up your own cup, you're prioritizing everyone else. So come the end of the day, when you had a stressful day, you didn't pour into yourself, there was no pleasure. Now, all of a sudden, you're seated, you're about to put on some TV, your husband, your kids go to bed, nobody's around. This is the perfect time for you to emotionally eat, for you to go into the pantry or go into the freezer, grab your ice cream and eat, because you were people pleasing all day. There was no pleasure in your life. You didn't know how to process your stress. You didn't know how to say no. You don't have boundaries. And then that all creates this pressure. And if you don't know how to handle all that, food's there. Food will make you feel better, right? So there's so many reasons why people emotionally eat, and they all go hand in hand. If you are seeing your emotions as bad, I was told that I don't cry, don't be upset. You're going to feel bad for feeling those emotions. So you're going to try to stuff your emotions. I can't cry. I can't show that I'm sad. I can't talk about this thing bugging me because I don't want this person to get annoyed. And this person's going to think, oh my gosh, you need to be stronger. You're taking everything so seriously. So then you don't even communicate. That used to be me. Even having conversations with my husband, in the past, because like I said, I was very emotional. A lot of the times I wouldn't want to bring things up, whether it was my husband or friend or whatever. I didn't want to bring things up because I felt like I couldn't be emotional, because for my whole life, for the majority of my life, it's like, don't cry, don't be so emotional. So I felt like I couldn't bring up things that were bugging me because I couldn't show my emotions. Be strong, be strong, be strong, be strong, be strong. So then I would just, okay, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I was not fine. Stuffing my emotions, stuffing my emotions, stuffing my emotions. Behind the scenes, nobody's looking. I'm just gonna go eat because I was not processing. I wasn't talking through my emotions. I wasn't actually tackling my emotions. I was just stuffing them down the drain, pushing them down. And then eventually it builds and it stacks and it stacks and it stacks and it stacks, and then you can't handle it anymore and you just snap. Another thing, like I said about the people pleasing, you have a big heart. I have a big heart. But with you constantly saying yes to Billy and Susan and Bob and Sandra and Kelly and your coworker, and yes, I'll stay after time, and yes, I can drive you here, yes, I can do this, yes to everyone else, and no to you, you are not filling up your own cup. And at the end of the day, when you're depleted and you're stressed and you didn't give yourself pleasure, you're gonna numb out on food. This just is what it is. And still to this day, sure, there might be times where I get overwhelmed, but when people ask me about like, do you have stress in your life? And I'm going to be so honest, I really don't. And it's not because my life is perfect. It's because I've worked on understanding how to regulate and process my emotions. So if something hits the fan and something goes wrong, I don't freak out. I used to be that person where if something, like for example, my husband ordered a huge, I don't even know if it's like a projector or something like that. Anyways, it was coming to the house. And he's like, the delivery system said it was going to be here on Wednesday. He's like, you have to stay at home all day because we don't know what time this package is going to come in. You know, the delivery people, they're like, we're going to be there anywhere from like 8 a.m. until 10 o'clock at night. So I'm like, okay. And I just was like, okay, that's totally fine. And it's not that big of a deal. But in the past, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I can't get my work in. Oh my God, I can't go for a walk. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to like be so worried about when this person's going to come. And now, because I know how to regulate my emotions, things like that, something so simple like that, it's not a big deal. You know? Or there's a change in my schedule, or something happens behind the scenes, and whatever. Everyone goes through things. But now, because I have tools in my back pocket of regulating, processing, managing, I feel safe to express myself. If I'm sad, I'm going to cry. If I'm angry, I'm going to allow myself to be angry. If I'm overwhelmed, I know how to down-regulate my nervous system so I'm not in a constant state of overwhelm. This is everything. I can still get overwhelmed, I can still get stressed, I can still get anxious, but I don't self-soothe with food because I have tools to regulate my nervous system. It's not that some people just don't have stress in their life. It's not that some people just aren't anxious, right? Everybody feels, we all have emotions, but it's what you do with the emotions. Some people will get super stressed out and they're like, I'm going for a run. Some people will say, I'm super overwhelmed and I'm just going to put my feet up and I'm just going to read a book, or I'm going to watch TV. Or I'm super overwhelmed, I'm going to go by the water and I'm going to go for a beautiful walk by the water and just see the calm waves. And that's what's going to really calm them down. Hi, Umi. And for some people, like what you might be dealing with is, well, that doesn't even bring me joy. The only thing that brings me joy is food, so I'm just going to numb out on food. Or I don't know how to process my emotions. My emotions feel so scary and I can't handle the stress. I can't handle the overwhelm, so I'm just going to eat. But the reality is you can handle your emotions and they're not as scary as you think. But again, if you see them as this big scary monster, like, oh my gosh, my emotions are so strong, like I can't process them, you can. But you're telling yourself that you can't process them is the reason why you're turning to food. There's so many other mechanisms as well too. Like maybe you're self-soothing with food, but maybe you're also nail biting. Maybe you're also picking at your skin. Maybe you're also scrolling on social media. These are all ways of I don't want to feel. You're scrolling, I don't want to feel. Picking at your skin, biting your nails. It's like a stress response. Like, I'm stressed right now and I don't know how to process my emotions. I dealt with all of those things. I dealt with emotional eating, but also there would be times where I'd be in the mirror, like picking at my skin for like 30 minutes, numbed out. Biting my nails. My mom's like, Lorna, what do you do? My mom would joke around. She's like, Lorna, you're hungry? Like, why are you eating your nails? And I can laugh about it. It's not actually funny, but anyways. And it was because I didn't know how to feel my emotions. I didn't want to feel. So distract myself scrolling, distract myself eating, distract myself picking at my skin, distract myself nail biting. When you don't feel safe in your body, when you don't feel safe to process, to feel, to manage your emotions, or you don't even know how, that's when you use these unhealthy coping strategies. And I am so grateful that I know I have very high level of emotional intelligence, so I know how to process my emotions so that I don't turn to food. Because like I said, I still have stressful days. I still have times where I get overwhelmed. I put a lot on my plate and I'm like, oh shit, why did I do that? That's a lot. I'm like, what did I just do? But I don't ever turn to food anymore because I know how to regulate my nervous system. I know how to enter a parasympathetic state where I feel relaxed, where I'm not so uptight, where if one thing off of my schedule doesn't go perfectly as planned, I don't freak out. I don't wake up with anxiety anymore. That was a big thing for me, waking up with chronic anxiety every single day. I don't have anxiety in the mornings anymore. Yes, a huge part of it is because I'm no longer binging in the evening. 100%. So I don't wake up like, oh my gosh, how much did I eat last night? Oh my God, I don't want to see my coworkers. Like everything goes hand in hand together. So a huge reason why I created my Stop Emotional Eating and Self-Soothing with Food program is because more people need to learn this information. More people need to learn how to process, cope, and manage your emotions. And if you're like, how the heck do I do that? That's what I'm going to teach you inside of this program. If you know you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you're feeling certain emotions, and you automatically turn to food, this program is for you. If you feel like food is the main source of pleasure in my life, this program is for you. Your emotions don't have to be scary monsters. They don't. Even, for example, feeling anger. If you're angry, let's say you're angry. There's two ways you can go about this. Let's say you're angry. Maybe you're angry at like diet culture, right? You're mad at diet culture because of how many years you spent in this prison thinking about food, counting calories, whatever it is, and now you're mad. Well, if you don't actually process that emotion and allow yourself to feel the anger, it turns into aggression, and that's problems. However, you can go down the other route and say, you can use your emotions as your superpower. I'm angry at diet culture, just for an example. I'm angry at diet culture, so you know what? I am no longer going to give diet culture my power. I'm going to go down this path of healing my relationship with food and making peace with all foods. I'm not going to give a freaking dime to diet culture anymore. And I'm going to take the driver's seat. And now I'm so much more aware that the dieting industry is batshit crazy and I'm not going to go down that route anymore. So I'm going to use the anger. I'm going to use my emotion as my superpower, and I'm going to get into the driver's seat and heal my relationship with food. That's what I did. So with my anger of like, oh, I'm so mad at freaking diet culture, like it led me to believe that a smaller me was a better me. It led me to believe that I needed to eat 10 almonds as a snack, and I needed to believe that I was a failure if I didn't have, my protein and my vegetables at every single meal. And instead of just turning that anger into aggression, I allowed myself to feel. I allowed myself to turn that anger into my superpower, and now I'm like, you know what? Screw you, diet culture. I'm going on this path. I healed my relationship with food, and that anger actually fueled me to change the world, and now I'm helping all of you guys stop emotional binge eating. Your emotions, there's nothing to fear. Your stress, your anxiety, those are your superpowers. And when you know how to stop fearing your emotions, you can live a really incredible life. Because your emotions are not in the driver's seat, you're in the driver's seat, seeing how you can create superpowers out of your emotions and not let your emotions be in the driver's seat where I can't process this. Oh my gosh, my stress is too strong. Oh my God, I'm so stressed for my job. I don't care. I know I shouldn't be doing this at 9 o'clock and I know I shouldn't be eating the ice cream. I know I'm not even hungry, but I'm just going to do it anyways because you don't know what else to do. So inside of the Stop Emotional Eating program, we're starting next week. I'm going to teach you the exact process of how you can start processing, managing, coping your emotions without turning to food. How to stop procrastinating so often when you don't want to do a task, when you don't want to have that hard conversation, you don't want to have that phone call, you don't want to do the laundry, you don't want to do XYZ thing. It's like, I don't want to do that, but I feel bad sitting on the couch and not doing anything, so I'm just going to eat, and you see that as being more productive. Man, oh man, this one hit me hard. I felt so guilty relaxing at the end of the night, putting on TV. I'm wasting brain cells. I felt so guilty. I'm like, I'm not going to just sit here twiddling my thumbs, and I still have an hour before going to bed, so I'm just going to eat. I felt like I was being more productive eating than relaxing and allowing myself to just decompress at the end of the night. So I'm going to help you work through that as well too. I'm going to teach you nervous system regulation techniques so that you can reduce your stress, you can reduce your anxiety, you can reduce your overwhelm in the heat of the moment of when you're feeling those bursts of stress, overwhelm, depression, whatever it is, but also how to actually get to the root of the stress, the overwhelm, the anxiety, so that it doesn't keep popping up. Just like I share with urges, right? You can keep distracting yourself, staying busy, brushing your teeth, and that's just managing your urges versus actually getting rid of your urges. And with this emotional eating program, I'm going to teach you how to actually get to the root of your anxiety, your stress, your overwhelm, creating boundaries, stop people pleasing, adding more joy into your life so that literally you have no desire to numb out and self-soothe with food. So it is on early bird pricing until tomorrow only. It's on early bird pricing until tomorrow only. So if you feel called to join this, you're like, yes, I know I need to stop people pleasing. I need to stop turning to food when I'm happy, stressed, bored, lonely. This is the program for you. So we're starting next week, but the price is going up tomorrow. So if you're interested, you can DM me emotion. Just DM me the word emotion and I'm going to send you all the details. We already had so many incredible people join this program. I'm so excited. I was just pulling it up here. We've had so many people join this program. This is nobody, you don't go to school and you don't learn how to process your emotions. Nobody teaches you how to feel through your emotions. Nobody teaches you okay, if you're feeling anxious, this is what you need to do. It's just I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to eat. I don't know, I'm feeling anxious right now, I'm really uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna eat. There's better ways to cope and manage and process your emotions without self-soothing with food or without picking at your skin, without scrolling on social media. They're all intertwined, without biting your nails. These are all things that are intertwined. So, DM me, emotion. I'll send you all the details. The price goes up tomorrow, so if you feel called, message me. I'll shoot you all the details, and I cannot wait to have you inside. Yes, Carla, I cannot wait to. I'm so excited. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be so, so, so fun. All right, you guys, have the best day ever, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.